All right, so I had a nudge to get up and record this. A little story time, a little reflection time. You know, I always share in the channel that letting people think and say and do and be who they are, what they want, is, always the best way forward for us, especially when you're dealing with someone who either is a narcissist or has very narcissistic traits. And especially when they are able to weaponize people that you perceived as friendly towards you who truly never were or never liked you, just, put on the mask and the facade that they were. Being able to just sit back and allow them to unfold all of the display of their hate towards you and their disgust, that you recognize them, and yet you still choose to be who you are and be unbothered by who they are. Because, why would I be bothered by who you are? I'm not in your body. You are who you are. I am who I am. We are two separate individuals, right? So it's just a little story time. Some of these players, I'll call them, have come back around, and they're wanting, you to be in fear of what they're going to say about you. And you're sitting there and you're like, why would I be in fear of what someone like you would say about me? Someone who is stuck in the past, who refuses to move on, who refuses to heal, who refuses to do any kind of self-analysis, self-evaluation to do better in life and to change generational family patterns, because you think that you don't need to, there's nothing wrong, even though you've told multiple people about the sickness of aunts offering you to uncles in the family. And oh, you're so traumatized by that experience, but you see nothing wrong with it. And now, potentially, your child is in the custody of the same aunt who offered you up to a predator within your family. And you have no problem with her being there. And you want somebody else to feel guilty that they, potentially broke free. And it's just like these different players want to blame shift onto someone who is not responsible for the choices they made. And recognizing that is what drives those players crazy, because they recognize that they can no longer mask who is guilty for their own misadventures in life. It's not you. It's not their mom. It's not their dad. It's them. It's what they continually choose to invest their time into, who they continually choose to invest their life with, and how they invest that, right? And so one of the ways that they can try to get you to move back into very unwell behavior patterns is to find a female that's like a single white female type of energy that is truly envious of you, yet hates you, but wants to be in your skin and wants your life. And if they can manufacture conflict with this person, then in their own way, they can assign a lifelong energy of just feeling stalked, gang stalked, and terrorized and tortured. And if that is successful, then they have successfully won staying in your life, even though physically there may be distance and protective orders that separate you from them. Consequently, because you now have this psychotic single white female who is always watching you, always wanting to see what you're doing so that she can, profit off of it. They can make you seem like you're unhinged, but the reality is that the harder they work to do that, if you consistently block them and do not respond to them, all they do is show how psychotic and crazy they are. And so there's no other remedy for them but to stand up and face that dragon within themselves, while you get to move on. Because as you stay present in your life and what is before you, any focus that they have on you has to subside when it's revealed that you didn't talk to them, you didn't respond to them, you don't even care what's going on in their life because it's not a part of your life. You don't control the choices that they make. You don't control what unfolds or even the consequences that they created for themselves and truthfully chose for themselves in choosing to spread a false narrative about you, to drive people away from you so that nobody would help you. The other type of female that they will attempt to connect with and get on their team is one that is very lewd and licentious and lascivious and has no moral boundaries. And that type of female energy, who is very distorted and chaotic and disruptive, will try to befriend you, hoping to place you in situations where you could be harmed, and then turn around and say, well, I didn't know, just so that they can then run to this other player and say, oh, well, the target was very, very, very lewd and was all over the place and was, just acting like she wanted men, near her, all over her. Even though that's not the truth, because they themselves are also, like the single white female, very envious of you because they see that you have the capacity to operate with boundary lines and with respect. And people see that and they respect you for it. And that's something that they've always wanted, but they've never been able to get. But the reason is because they have no boundaries. They have no respect. And good people see that and generally will hold themselves back from it, walk away from it. Another energy is an older maternal energy that, will say, oh, I go to church. And mind you, this is the same player who offered this person to their uncle. So again, none of the players in this are any good. All of them are distorted and toxic in their own ways. None of them want to see you succeed. So the best thing to do is to become present with what it is you are working on, keeping it to yourself, and continuing to work, continuing to show up, continuing to move the energy that you have been stagnated with for so long through eating healthy, exercising, and whatever, even if it's just a 5-minute walk a day, whatever it is, but also physically moving that energy out of the space of your heart, out of the space of your tissues and your nervous system, and getting back into what it is that gives you passion and ambition to keep moving forward and keep coming up with new and creative ideas and endeavors to be a part of, And sometimes that's even, one of the ways that you move that energy is becoming involved in community outreach and building relationships and friendship with people that are really led to think of the needs of others, because that in and of itself is a beautiful way to reflect gratitude in your life that opens doors and opportunities that so many times we overlook. And today, talking about any kind of faith structure or any kind of faith relationship, people always want to derail it and say that those that believe or have a belief system in God are, one-sided, one-dimensional. But the reality is that when you have a belief in God and you have a personal relationship with God, and you feed that relationship every day by what you do, how you live your life, how you show up in conflict, how you show up in conflict resolution, that is a component that no amount of negative energy, if you will, is ever going to be able to overcome. Because that person, that energy, that intention is never going to be bigger and better than God. I will share that. No intention will ever supersede what God has for you, provided that you are literally just simply living your life, minding your business, and staying focused on what is in front of you and being present with that, within that. And as you do that, all these crazy white single or crazy white female energies fall off. All these narcissistic people, or people that have narcissistic traits that just let that run rampant throughout their inner person, fall off. Because eventually they get tired and they get bored because they can't get to you. And the amoral female energy is exposed. And so all of these players, even the elderly that claims to be in the church, yet is comfortable offering her nieces and nephews to predators, who refuses to face that fact, God has judgment on it. And God exposes it. And God brings it to an end. Because he never intended for those people as children to be harmed that way. It is sheer ignorance of humanity to think that God is okay with that. He's not. So that's the story time for today, is when those type of energies come up and you feel like, man, not again. Like, why? Why won't it just go away? Why won't people just do what they need to do? Understand that this is an experience in your life that is unfolding, And as you stay present, you are being given a key to your success, staying present, that is going to open doors for you that these people cannot come through with you. And this is why they realize that their time is up. And you have closed this chapter. And what they thought was still ongoing, as it unfolds, is showing the finality that the chapter is over. It's been closed. You've been moved on to the next chapter of your life, right? But God has to expose them. God has to bring them into the full illumination of their own blame shifting onto you, of their own choice that they made, choosing this consequence. They don't get to argue, well, it was because this person made me do it, because you're not even in the picture. You have moved on happily into your own life. And you have chosen the health, wealth, and abundance of God's plan for you. You have chosen to separate yourself from what no longer was healthy, what no longer was beneficial to you. In the sense that had you stayed, you would have gone down with that ship unnecessarily. And you don't need to. Because you, my friend, have a purpose, and your life serves a purpose. Everything you do, every chapter of your life, every experience of your life matters, and there's truth in it, in all of those experiences. Sometimes it's pleasant, sometimes it's not. But when you can sit with the unpleasant truth that yes, you chose unwisely, yes, you allowed somebody to walk all over your boundary lines and deny that you had a right to those boundary lines, that yes, you were in, an abusive relationship, that yes, you sat back and you played the part to expose the true mask of the people close to you. And that was a strategic move on your part, but at the same time, society may not see it the same way you see it. Okay? Society may say, well, why didn't you leave? And you don't have to explain or justify why you didn't. But you need to know why you stayed. What it was within that dynamic that you felt so bound to that you chose not to break away, right? Otherwise, you will choose that same dynamic again and again and again. But when you truly understand what the pattern is and how it resurges and what you've always done, and you choose to do something differently, you are choosing to walk into the unknown. And what you are saying is, even if I don't have all the answers, even if I don't have all the resources that I think I need, that I'm convinced I need, and I've told people I need to get away, I am still choosing to go to where I can feel safe, where I can feel protected, where I can feel like no one can just enter at free will, because I determine who is in my space. I determine what I invite around me. You are choosing to exercise discernment and what I encourage you to continue to do is to listen to your inner instinct when it says don't go there. Don't go there. Pass by it. Even if you got to go 2 blocks away, if you got to go 2 states away, listen to your inner instinct, because that is your moral compass within. That is letting you know, hey, there's a crash landing there. This is not for you. These people are not for you. This place is not for you. And that internal compass is there to better you, to mature you through your life experience. It's not there to just say, hey, you shouldn't do this for no reason. And so I want to end with this. As freely as you are to make the choices that you make, understand that you are freely choosing the ripple effects and the currents that go with those choices. And if you caught that, and I hope you did, have a good day, my friend.